Hello, welcome to my channel and thanks for tuning into this video. Today I wanted to do just a quick little video on my Wayne Goss brushes. I did a video on my Sonia G brushes last week, and so I thought I'd like to do one on my Wayne Goss brushes as well, although my collection of Wayne Goss brushes is much smaller than my collection of Sonia G brushes. These are all brushes that I really love and that are very special to me, so I just wanted to talk about them a little bit. I'm going to start with the Air brush, which is the first Wayne Goss brush that I ever purchased, and this was my first blue squirrel hair brush ever as well. And when I first got it, I was just amazed by how soft it really is. Blue squirrel is one of the softest natural fibers you can get for your makeup brushes, and this is just super, super soft. The shape is really great for me too. I love this brush for doing precise powder application. So underneath the eyes, around the nose, on the chin, sometimes I like to put a little bit of powder, sometimes here, on the sort of center of the forehead a little bit. It's just perfect because it's really nice and small. Also has kind of a tapered top. I don't know if you can see it, but the bristles go, yeah, you can see it there. They go taper in at the top. So that helps you to get into the really small areas, like right underneath your eyes and so on. And it's just so soft that I've never experienced any irritation whatsoever. I often have some irritated skin around my eyes, and this never exacerbates that irritation or causes me any pain or anything like that. None of these brushes do. The bristles are really flexible as well, so this also can work as your cheek brush as well. You can do contour or bronzer, you can do blush or even highlight, but because it's so soft, I wouldn't necessarily recommend using it on harder pressed or baked gelée type formulas that are a little bit more difficult to pick up, just because it is so soft and it's so flexible as well. It's not stiff at all. It's perfect for products that are more lightly pressed or that are extremely pigmented, because it's really not going to pick up too much and it's really going to diffuse them very nicely onto your cheeks. So this is great. For example, if you have blushes or bronzers or even highlights that are really, you find that they're a little bit too strong for you, this is great because it's called the airbrush and it really does give an airbrushed effect, both with color products and with powder. The one that I use kind of interchangeably with that is the medium size brush from the Artist collection. So this one, it's, pretty close to the same size. Obviously it's a different shape, where the Artist brush is completely rounded. It has a totally round base and it tapers in like a calligraphy brush with more of a point at the tip. So although it is that rounded shape as opposed to the flat shape of the airbrush, it, for me, serves basically the same function. Great for under eye setting and precise powder placement, and also can be used as your smaller bronzer, contour, blush, and highlight brush. As I said, I use these two interchangeably, and I like that I have two that I can use for the same purpose, because the blue squirrel hair does get a little bit laden with product faster than, for example, goat hairs or synthetic hair brushes. And you're supposed to be quite gentle with your blue squirrel hair and not wash them too often. So it's nice to have two that can perform the same function, so you can just sort of go in between them. It's equally as soft and everything as the airbrush as well. Next, I want to talk about the large brush from the Artist series. And this is, although it's called the large brush and it's the largest in the series, it's not really that big. If I, for example, compare it to the Soft Cheek from Sonia G, they're around the same size. They have slightly different shapes, but they're similar in size. And this one also is completely rounded at the base and it tapers in. It's not quite as fine a tip as the medium or the small one, which I'll show you in a moment, but it does taper in a little bit at the tip, but it's more rounded overall in its shape. This I love for bronzer, and that's primarily what I use it for, because like I was talking about with the airbrush, because it's has such soft fibers and It's not overly dense. It has a decent density to it, but it's very flexible and soft. This is perfect for bronzer, and it also splays out pretty nicely. With bronzer, sometimes you are wanting to cover a larger area a little bit faster. So this is really nice for that. It just gets over your cheek really quickly and your forehead and underneath the chin, which is where I like to put bronzer. This is great for bronzers if you have bronzers that are a little bit deep for you, or a little bit overly pigmented, or quite softly pressed. You find that they're difficult to apply because they're a little bit too intense. This is perfect because it's so soft in how it picks up the product. It's not going to pick up too much, and it diffuses so beautifully and softly as well. So all of these brushes have that in common. This one would also work really well for blush. I just tend to reserve it for bronzer because I like to have specialized brushes usually for different purposes. But it works great for blush as well. This can also be used for an all-over powder application because it's large enough that it'll do that quite quickly. All of these artist brushes are just a work of art in themselves. They're based on calligraphy brushes, so they have this little tab at the top that you can hang them up if you have a special brush hanger like that. The handles, I believe, are maple, and there's no metal ferrule. It just goes right from the handle right into the brush fibers. So they're really beautiful and special, and they work really well too. These were originally available only as a set altogether, and that was how I bought them. But I believe now you can buy them each one separately. So that's nice. If you were only interested in one or two of them, you can do that. And that brings me to the last brush, which is the small artist brush. This is definitely my least used of my Wayne Goss brushes, but it's still very nice. It's just as soft as the other ones. I just find that I don't use it as much because I have my Sonia G brushes that I love so much for my eyes, and this is so soft that it splays out a lot, so you can't get a really precise placement on your eyes, and it doesn't pick up much product. So for me, that's just not the style of eye makeup that I generally like to do. I like to have a little bit more control and precision and stronger pickup of the eyeshadows. But this is really great if you want to use it as your last step on your eyeshadow with nothing on it and just really make sure that everything is blended out perfectly. This is great for that. It diffuses so nicely. This is also good for highlighter, and I find that it's best for strongly pigmented traditional powder highlighter formulas because that's just what it's going to pick up best, and it's going to allow you to apply those stronger highlighters more subtly. So those are really my two main uses for this brush. That's my whole Wayne Goss brush collection at this point. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Let me know if you have any comments or questions in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I would love for you to do so. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.